Right, we're back with episode 6 of the podcast. On this one, we've got Doof.
Hello.
How we doing? And basically, this is the first one with the camera. If we decide to release it with the camera, if not, I'll be cutting this out. So we've got Doof in. How you doing, pal?
I'm very well, thank you, mate. Yourself?
Not too bad. Do you just want to pull that thing closer? Yeah. Oh.
Have you checked levels or not?
It's all our levels are all right. So how you doing?
Very good, very good. Enjoying my day.
How you finding sort of coming out of the pandemic and that? Like, I know you were quite busy beforehand because beforehand you were doing like some stuff in like Electric Soup and that, weren't you? So you were sort of busy before the pandemic.
Music wise. Well, yeah, no. Before the pandemic, like, I was really big into music from 2012 till maybe 2017. But the last couple of years before the pandemic, like, I'd really like settled myself down with it. I didn't have the involvement and interest in it that I did have previously. But since the pandemic hit, coming out of it, now I have absolutely nothing to do with music in like a aspiration or like a business sense. Obviously, I still listen to it. I still like love the stuff. Always will.
But as I say, like before all this, you were. I remember. I still listen to like your set with you did with Stretching, like Electric Soup, and like I found it. You were like, as I say, I'm not gonna lick your ass out like that, but you were like the rep for Makina or like northeast sort of Spanish stuff around here, in my opinion.
There's not really many folk there's a lot of people that like it, but there's not many DJs that play that sort of thing around here.
Not anymore,
no. There was back in the day when I first got into it.
Everyone did.
There was a few more, but numbers are quite low these days. But it's always been had a special place in my heart. I've always found Makina to be like the most enjoyable genre of dance music to mix. I mean, I mix a lot. I like mixing loads of things, but Makina's just got there's a lot more like samples and just like the style of the music. You can just do a lot more with it, like mixing for fun, like hammering the crossfaders and stuff, and your channel faders rather than other genres. So that's why I've like sort of stuck with that. And where other people would maybe mix it back in the day, but now they'd maybe do house music, something a bit more like commercial or grown up, some people would say. But no, Makina will always have a special place in my heart. But the set with Stretch, that might possibly be like, if not my favourite, and definitely top 3 sets, most enjoyable sets that I've ever done. Definitely the best crowd I've ever played till from the start till the end of the set. The full dance floor was like pretty much singing and stuff. There was one point Stretch actually went to the toilets, and while he was at the bog, the crowd was just going, "Yay, yay, 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 yay." He come back from the bogs and he looked at me, I looked at him, it was like, I was both shaking our heads, like, what the fuck, this is epic in here.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I was there that night, like, I came along, just because I've always been a sort of fan of, like, I've never played it, never produced it or out, but when you get some good northeast name, say your Stretches and stuff like that, Stomping, Tazo, do you know what I mean? Turbo D, so any sort of MCs like that, or even DJs. We've talked about off pod. I like Chrissy G, Nitro, Matrix, all that. Like all it's all nostalgia for me, because growing up in school, there was always the bounce, but before that it was like a massive like. It was massive, like Makina in this area.
Weighted toward Makina, yeah.
Literally everyone listened to it.
For me, it was Italian and Makina, like Zone and Madison's. That was like the big thing.
Yeah.
And then Makina come along, and like you were saying, it was Makina, and then like Scouse come along.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a bit of a similar experience with it.
But it was huge around here. Like even now, there's certain tunes that stick out in my head. Like if you play that. You could go into a club on a Saturday night and there'd be like loads of like 18-year-olds, right? And you could have that vocal sample that goes voulez-vous un rendezvous, and like literally everyone knows that tune, and it's just little tunes like that, like I don't know, and especially with the speeded up Italian stuff as well. They used to play like
Or Chris Stranger's TH Express,
Yeah.
the hard mixer Linder and Co.
Yeah.
All very best of tunes like that. I think Vula Vu is possibly a Spanish tune. Italian tune.
It is,
I know
eh?
it is like
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is like more seen as like Spanish like Makina, but I'm pretty sure it's Italian from an Italian label. But that's maybe it's regarded as like maybe the biggest tune in the northeast. That Vula Vu. I'm big fan, love it a bit, but it's something that I would never really play because it's shit to mix. It's one of them. It's got like 8 bars at the start of it.
Yeah.
But like so, 8 bars at how many? Well, oh no, it wouldn't even be 8 bars. 8 beats, more like it, like to mix at the start. And like if I'm gonna play a tune, I'd rather play something with a bit of an enjoyable mix. But that was the other thing about the stretch set. I'll have had like the first few tunes planned like I normally do for the set. I like to like plan the first like couple of mixes to like get us into the set, and then like I'll play to a bit more of the crowd sort of thing. But apart from my mixes, just seem to everything go all right. One thing that with the MCs, they'll always be on form, like saying the right rhymes that the crowd want to hear and stuff like that. But one thing that can vary a lot with them, at the when a DJ is doing a mix, at the end of the mix, when it goes into the next song's breakdown, they can maybe not hear that that's going to happen, that a breakdown's coming in, and they could be mid-rhyme, and they'll have to cut the rhyme like halfway through because of a breakdown coming in, and that didn't happen once with Stretch. And so he knew like where I was at in the mixing phase. He knew when the breakdown was coming in, and I didn't really like catch him off guard. That like can happen a lot.
He's had a good chemistry then. Is that what it was? Really?
Look, I guess. I know everything just went perfect, like flawlessly. I mean, I've DJ'd so many times and been like drunk and knocked the decks off and like done all sorts of shit like that. But it was the thing with Stretch, everything just went as smooth as you could possibly wish for. And so, like, it's one of the few sets I don't mind listening to myself, like, if someone puts it on and whatever.
Yeah, definitely. I love it. I know I've sort of like jumped the gun there. We're going to go back to the beginning, really, for you. How did you get into music?
I don't know if I'm making this up or not, but is your dad into music?
Yeah. My dad was. He's dead now, like.
Oh, sorry to hear that, mate. Oh, yeah.
I use it as a bit of a thing. He's been dead like 14 years. So, like, my dad used to be an MC in the park.
Really? Oh, right. I thought it was maybe like in a band musician or something like that. No. Oh, that's class crack, that.
He was an MC in the park. I've heard loads of stories. Like, I've bumped into people at work, right, who are like obviously his age and that, and they've come in and they've said, like, as soon as I seen your name, I sort of recognised it, and I just wanting to know if that was your dad and that, and like a lot of them are shocked that he's dead, dead, but like,
stuff like, can you beat myself there? Like, what are you saying that for, Doof?
It's alright. It's fucking been dead a while.
Yeah, it's one of them.
It's one of them things. It's just life. But my earliest thing of it, when I bumped into folk and they've said, "Oh, I knew your dad from the park." I've heard mad stories like about him, where it's like someone literally come to me at work. He was one of the fire marshals at work, and he said, Are you Greg's lad? I was like, yeah. That's he says, hey, what a fucking lad he was. He says he used to go out into the park and he'd be MCing and that. If he needed a piss and that, he'd go out to the toilet and be pissing in the urinal, still MCing at the tune. Quality, yeah.
Okay, that's keen, like, good crack, like.
So my entry into music was through Italian. Like, that's what was played in the park. On the tapes, my dad would listen to... He used to style himself off MC Kane. Do you know the Italian MC?
Don't know.
He's just used to be back on used to do Zone and Fever and all that back in the day, and basically growing up, you'd listen to the tapes. He had a wide range of music of what he liked. He liked like fucking Elton John, Michael Jackson, fucking Status Quo, shit like that. But then he was always into the dance music. He got me into the club music. He got me into the Italian dance, and
it's awesome. My dad, he just listens to shite. I say shite, it's not really, it's just not rave.
yeah, exactly. My earliest recollection would be him listening to I know it's proper stereotypical, but as a kid, it's something that sticks out in your head. Yeah, he'd have a tape on from say Zone or something, and he'd be pumping Annie, Africa Bambata. So that was always in my head because it's quite catchy for a kid, isn't it? It's bump banana. So you
Yeah,
just sort
yeah.
of remember
Oh,
it.
I loved it back in the day. Like it's
Aye,
one of
but
them ones that like couldn't listen to now.
I hate
Like,
it now. I
but
absolutely
yeah,
hate it.
aye. Well, any
It comes on, and
Italian
it's
tune back in the day, I loved like
for
anything.
me. That tune is a guy for the piss if it's on in the club. If it comes on, you know, like
in
nothing
the
against it. It's just it's overplayed, isn't it?
in the Makina world, everybody's a star. Do you know what that is? Everybody is a star.
Yeah, I
Everybody
think so.
is a
Yeah.
star. Hate that. And Happy Men Love Is You. Just trying to think what it goes like. You are always on my mind. Oh,
What
I
a
can't
tune.
stand it.
I
Like,
love it. Obviously,
the
I
big
haven't
tunes.
I
Like,
haven't been
this is why I was
exposed to it
saying
like
it.
you. Like, do you know what I mean? So,
Oh, they're absolutely massive songs, and it was not like they would overplayed it out like that because there's like so many tunes that got played more than them, like Monster Sound or whatever.
Yeah.
But and I love me cheesy vocals as well. It's just like them tunes just never grabbed us. It's just like just bit too thin for us.
So go on then. What were you gonna say? You're growing up.
Oh well, with my dad being into music, he's a bit of a musician, plays piano and guitar, and as well as music lessons which he doesn't really do anymore. He records music in the house. He records his own backing tracks. And then he'll go and play keyboard and guitar and sing live at the pubs, which is like it's quite impressive what he does.
Well, like, would I know him at all? Like,
His stage name's Steve Spencer. He's got like a bit of a black afro.
that's fucking mental. That it's weird.
If he's ever out towards like this way, I'll give you a text and get yourself out with missus. He's entertaining. I like going to the local bars with me pals and that to watch him. Like
type of stuff does he do? Like,
pop.
Like covers and that.
Yeah. No, it's no original. It's just all like covers of like old pop music.
I fucking love
But he
that.
won't just like get an instrumental and sing over it. He redoes like the full song. He like records the full like backing track from scratch. Then he'll sing and do like the live synths and stuff on top. Like he's like really talented. Well, I wish I could like play keyboard like him for starters. You know what I was saying about the piano roll and stuff like. If I had his like just 10% of his talent on the piano, then I'd go far with the music productions. But with my dad being in music, and I've sort of like grew up on it. And like, granted, like we have different tastes in music and that, but like I've just always lived with music.
It's that passion, isn't it? Like, I know it sounds daft, but like if you're brought up around it, you tend to like, oh well, I like audio, so like I'll find my own audio that I like, but because it's a culture, isn't it? Music is a culture in your house.
Yeah, of course.
Like if you there's these houses that, like, for instance, my missus' mate, she's got no interest in music. She's got no hi-fi out like that in her house. Like hi-fi, how old am I? But fucking hell. But like, she hasn't got anything like that in her house where she'll just knock the music on and think. If she's doing like housework out that like that in the house, or if she's trying to like do stuff for work, 'cause she's a school teacher, so if she's like marking stuff and that, she'll stick a podcast on in the background. She's not no music interest whatsoever.
It's enough for some people, and with all the different genres, like everyone got a different cup of tea. But for getting into rave and dance music and that, I think it was Clubland and Bonkers CDs. Well, all rave tapes that used to get passed about. Bonkers CDs and rave and Clubland CDs. I used to go to Woolworths shop when I was a young'un and buy everything.
So that's both directors, isn't it? I remember going in and getting. Me as a kid, I used to go in and I'd get a CD single, right, or it was a choice. I could get that or a wrestling DVD.
Right.
Like that was my thing as a kid. I used to love.
Reed is a wrestling fan.
I know we talk shit all the time.
Shit's a good word to use there. I'm just telling
No,
you.
no,
It's not for me, not my cup of tea. Now, but Reed is right into it. At school, I'm not sure what really come first, but there was a combination of my pals telling us about all this new under-18s thing, Vibe. When I first heard about Vibe, went to one of them and never looked back. And I've got family over the North East, so whenever I used to go and see my cousins, I would like stop at their house for the weekend or whatever. They like played as like New Monkey for the first time, and the first heard of that, they had a set of decks and they used to like go buying records and like tapes and everything, and they
readily available.
Like I wasn't really sure what come first, but the combination of like pals going on about Vibe at school and stuff, and going to see my cousins over the
what year is this? And what like when you were getting onto the music vibe, like say what were you like 14 or something like that?
Yeah.
What year was that then?
Maybe 2003, maybe 2002,
Right.
somewhere around there. I think I went to the Monkey in 2004. That was like one of me earliest raves. It was maybe even me first rave, not counting like Vibe, a
Yeah.
Mania, like local, like sort of like stuff.
Your first over 18s, you mean? Like, is that what would you say? Oh, I know it was not over 16s, that wasn't it? If I'm not mistaken.
In fact, it probably will have been my first over 18s. Because I was going to like the over 18s vibes and like similar things like that, but that was like before I was 18, where I was like actually going into pubs and clubs and that. The Monkey at 16, somewhere between 15 17, like that was epic. Epic.
Go on, then you can indulge in that if you want.
Well, it's just apart from like the talent that was in there, all the DJs and MCs, which are still as good today as like what they were like back then when they started. I've just never been to a club like it.
Is it the culture? Like you go in and you've hit a vibe straight away. You know that the people, like, you don't know the people around, but the people around you are regulars. Are there every week, and it's they're there for that music, because it was a music club, wasn't it? They didn't serve drink, did they?
Well, that's it. That was one of the things, because I'm into a few genres, and I've been all over the country to trance events, hard house, drum and bass, Italian, all sorts. But every club you go to, it's a different layout, looks different and that, but it's all really like the same thing going on there. Whereas the Monkey, they didn't sell alcohol. In the main bar, they just sell bottles of water, ice pops, like just stuff what people wanted off their heads. And then like in the chill out room, they sell cups of teas and pot noodles, you know, for the people coming down, like sledging in there. The spot was close to pitch black, and there was just this one like green laser that used to shine through the dance floor belt when the smoke machine was on. And there was like a wall of speakers at one side of the club, and then the other two sides of the club, there was had balconies on. There was a balcony for the DJs and MCs, and a bit of a podium that went out for the MCs. And the other balcony was public. Anyone could just go up in there and that.
Right.
And the full spot was full of mostly young people, all in tracky pants, doing the same dance, and just like bottles of water and fags getting like passed about, and just everyone in trackies like doing all the same dance. And I mean, like, it was a club environment, like, but not really like what a club would like look like if you'd go uptown or a rave these days.
So,
and no alcohol, just full of drugs.
Before you went to the Monkey, like, was it? I don't know how to describe it. Did you know that what you were heading to? Like, were you listening to the new Monkey tapes and that?
Yeah.
So you know what you were.
I'd had tapes and that. I'd listened to tapes and stuff. I'd been to a couple of Vibe events, but when I'd went off with my cousins to stay, I was like, as soon as I got there, talking to him about tapes and tunes, and I'm like, been going to the Monkey and that of late. He was like, oh, we'll go tonight, and I just wasn't expecting to hear it.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, like, give me a check and now, we're going. It's like, I will go there tonight and that. I was like, you fucking belter. Big shout out to Neil Jermaine, Sean Jermaine, my cousins from Newcastle.
Class.
Class. My cousin and Neil will want to shout out, like, he's still a big fan of the Rave and that.
Nah, I just want to say, because I'm just going off my experience, right? I remember being a kid, and I remember my dad had left a jacket or something like that, or it was something like he'd left his bag or something, his gym bag or something in the park, right? And obviously I'd been brought up listening to the park like tapes and whatnot, and with me it was always do you know when you listen to the old tapes, you can hear the atmosphere, the crowd,
whistles,
the whistles,
that, like,
exactly. So when I walked into the park, maybe I must have been really young. Like, I went in and as you went through the door, it was just like larger than life. So like when I went to my first 118s at Fusion, I'd listen to like the CDs and everything like that, and I built myself up to go in there. Like, to me, it was like it was like a mosque or church type thing. It was like, to me, it was like, this is where it's happening for me. This is where I want to be. This is like a beacon of thing. With you, I imagine going to the New Monkey after listening to the tapes and hearing the atmosphere, it must have been a surreal moment walking in for the first time. Does that make sense? Have I just overhyped
yeah,
that?
I've got from smoking pot for so many years, I've got the worst memory going. But walking into the Monkey for the first time, I still remembered it like it was yesterday. I don't think like I'll ever forget it, because of how much like I was, how much I am like in love with it still, and you hear tapes and things, and you always like wonder what them places and clubs are like.
exactly.
I mean, I think about Venue and Resurrection, Colosseum, things like that I didn't go to after dark.
But you can hear the atmosphere on the tapes, and it's like, so I'd kill to go there.
You
like,
don't get it now. I mean, don't get us wrong. There's so many good events and raves out there that you can go to now, like absolute class nights. But there was just something about the vibe, like back then. I mean, when I said about whistles before, something that I've just actually been thinking about. It's just dawned on us. Someone with a physical whistle, like half the club would maybe have them back in the early raving days, and I hated the whistles because like I found them annoying and that. But when you listen to a tape with them, it just added so much more of like a vibe like to the tape that you just don't get now. And like it's just like
exactly what you mean.
It's just mad, like something that like was whistles are annoying as fuck. It's like oggy, but like it just kind of like adds something to it and like gives it the tape like character.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Which you don't get now, and especially digital recordings.
I grew up on like cricket CDs. That's what tapes. To me, like loads. You could feel the atmosphere, and if you put that on your hi-fi in your house, put the tape on, cracked it up, you could feel the atmosphere of like the MC getting the call and response. And, like,
fucking right.
It's just something I can't describe. That's what I was addicted to.
The roughness of the recording as well. Yeah. That added something, because now with the digital age, everything's that clear and polished and that. Yeah. Like I think it loses a bit with like rough recordings and that. Like you just, like, as I say, it adds more character to the tape. Absolutely. Like you feel you a lot more. Like it touches you more. Connects with you.
I definitely think so. So you were going into the New Monkey. Can you remember who was on? Like, is there a stick out set, or like when you walked in?
Stomping. That was a stick out. One thing which was a bit ironic. The first time I can't remember the day. I've been there twice. I could have went. I could have went the third time. You'd be a good person to ask about this. I know, like most of the raves that you go to, like I'm presuming that you'd be the driver going there.
Obviously.
Right.
It's a teetotal over here.
But put yourself in like a passenger's frame of mind. Like, how many people do you think like fit in a car? Like, should be allowed in a car to go to like a rave?
5, including me.
Yeah. I would agree with you. And so this third opportunity that I had to go to the Monkey, a pal wouldn't let us go because then there'd be 3 people sitting in the back and it'd be a bit cramped. And like, it's not a viable excuse. I'm not fucking having it. I see his point of view in that. Like, I mean, it was a small car and like a bit of a journey, and like you do get fucking cramped and that easy. But like,
I was funny, mate.
I was really. I was 17 at the time, and I didn't really have like opportunity and like chance not to go to Newcastle much and go to my church.
That's exactly what it is.
I go to my happy place and that. And shout out to Myrtle, dickhead. I love you, but you're still a dickhead. I'll never forgive you. He was like, nah, 5 in a car and that, too cramped and that. And like, yeah, I'm still fucking raging about that. But anyways, back to the point. I can't remember any of the dates that I went, but the first one I went to, it was a special. Right. Like, they used to have like May Day, like Halloween special, stuff like that. And where most people would probably think that was a good thing and be buzzing with it, there was a Psy and Storm on, which I'm a big fan of, like of
But it's not Monkey
hardcore.
stuff, eh? It's not
It wasn't the Residents.
exactly
I
what you
didn't want
mean.
to hear it. I wanted direct Chrissy G, like folk like that. I didn't want to hear fucking Storm and like Psy, like playing hardcore.
I know
Like as I
exactly
say,
what you
like
mean.
as I said, like really big fans of Psy and Storm and that. But like I wanted Residents. I wanted all the locals like playing the Spanish to the like.
Well, you didn't go to the Monkey to hear hardcore, did you?
Oh,
Essentially,
well,
no?
yeah.
You
A lot
you
of
went,
hardcore did get playing that, but it was just like bits, like a lot of fast Italian would
Yeah.
get played, and like I loved that. Like probably like listen to that more than Makina. But when I'm at a rave, like when I'm at the Neo Monkey, I want to hear like prime Makina like songs. I don't want to be hearing like hardcore and fucking Italian.
Got any good stories for me?
The second time I went to the New Monkey was with the Myrtle, the lad I just mentioned. There was him, a few of my other pals. There was a lass from Cockermouth that put a bus on.
Right.
I think me and Myrtle both knew her through a party and shout Lindsay Burlington. I think the second name's Burlington. Been a while like. Second time we got the bus down with a few Cockermouth lads, a few of my pals. And or even before we went to the club, I was stood in the queue outside. Heard like someone someone say something. Someone grabbed the back of my jacket, and I was like, "Oh fucking hell!" Like, what's going on? Turned out it's my fucking younger cousin who I went with last time. He's like, "What you fucking doing here?" I'm like, "Fucking hell, what are you doing here?" Never mind me. He was like, "Yeah, man, what are you doing here?" Like, obviously, he'd be going there every week and that. It was just like mad how he was just happened to be right next to us, like in the queue and that. So he was like, "Yeah, you're coming with me." So he captured us for the night, and like me and a few pals would just be like walking around with him and that. And so me, like being at church and that. Best place in the world, absolutely trolleyed. Back in the days where I used to do a lot of things that like I shouldn't have been doing, that I've absolutely no regrets about, but I shouldn't have been doing them. So I'm
not judging on this podcast, just so you know.
I don't care anymore.
There'll be many people watching this, right? And guess what? This is what we're here for. We're here for this crack. So if you were told, mate, fucking embrace it.
I'm not bothered one bit. Right, so I'm absolutely smashed on pills, and my cousin gets us onto the public balcony smoking hot cans. And for all the sensible people out there that like haven't taken drugs and things, when you take an upper such as ecstasy and then take a downer such as cannabis, it can make you trip. And so I'm on the balcony smoking hot cans. Then I'm stroking Mert's leg and asking him for half of his chicken curry. And obviously he didn't have a fucking chicken curry. Not that I'd be able to eat it anyways, like I. So I'm stroking, he's like, "Doof, how man? What, mate? What? You've stroked my leg?" "Oh, sorry, pal, I'm not sorry." And like, I was absolutely fucked. I don't know what was going on with the Cockermouth lads, because like maybe halfway towards the end of the night, like, you fucked from dancing that, because you're just bouncing about at 175 BPM.
Yeah.
And we went through the chill out room. You know when you're just walking around a club to like having laps and that. Walked into the chill out room, having all pot about, and all the Cockermouth lot are just like sat in there. And we're like, "All right, lads, good night." And then they were like, "Oh, we've just been like sitting through it, chilling through it." Well, what do you mean? You've been sitting in here? Have you been next door? And Stomping's just absolutely wrecked the spot. Like, fucking, I couldn't believe it. Like, I was like, "Oh, get me out of here. I've only been in 2 minutes and I'm coming down already." Back to the fucking dance floor. Stomping, 1, 2. I couldn't believe it, like, but a bell tonight. Proper bell tonight, like,
Class.
Wish I went again. Thanks, Mert.
Nice one, mate. Hey, that's class. So then you've been gone 16, 17, 18, right? Where you going from here? What happened next? You've got that taste of the monkey.
So, in the younger days, it was like the tapes going round and that, and I like that got us like sucked into Rave and Makina. I knew like Makina was one I was wanting to like listen and play and stuff. And do we want to hear about how like I got into decks and stuff?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
all right. That's a good question, to be honest.
So do you know when you were going to the monkey? Were you DJing at that point? Were you collecting records? What was the? the gist of what you're doing?
When I first went with my cousin, that was when I just first like seen decks pretty much and realised like I wanted a pair.
Yeah.
And I started buying records and was maybe buying them for a year till actually I got a set of decks.
Right.
Um,
So prepping your collection, knowing you were gonna get right into it.
or I knew I was getting a set of decks at some point.
Yeah.
We'd gone to the vibes and starting to knock about with a couple of the DJs and MCs that went there, the residents and that. I was just getting more and more into it, and I realised it was like something that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I just started buying records like right away. In fact, the first hard house tune I bought was off Millsy.
Right.
He played in Backroom of Fusion, Cortina Higher, it was called. I played it, I was like,
Proper tune.
fuck me, what a tune that was. And I went off there like, oh, all right, Millsy, don't suppose you fancy selling that, do you? And I'm pretty sure like Millsy's a proper good lad. He'll just give us it. He wouldn't have even took the money off us. Like, I can't like remember for certain, but like, if like putting a bet on he would just give us you as a proper good lad. But I bought records before I had a set of decks. Towards the last end of school, I got a flat that was like pretty much over the road from my mum and dad's, which was handy for when I wanted my washing done. But it was an absolute madhouse, and people just used to land all the time with different tapes and that. And so from that point, I didn't go to Woolworths anymore buying CDs. It was just all tapes and get my hands on as many tapes as possible. And then we'd seen my cousins like doing decks and going to Vibe and the New Monkey and like seeing DJ and realised I wanted to do that. I started listening to tapes differently.
Analysing them, eh?
I would listen for all the mixes and that. And then there's one particular tape, I think it's the B-side of 15th of June 2002. Chrissy G plays High Horse, which is probably still my favourite Makina tune. Well, it's technically German art trance, but it gets played in Makina sets and that's so just classes a Makina tune. Played Angel's High Horse and a song called Mulhouse Rave in the Jungle, which most people know as Baby Let's Get Wet.
Yeah, I know.
And the mix he done, he'd cued it in the breakdown. And then as they were building up, he slowed the decks down on 33. The two buttons on the turntables, 45 and 33. He slowed it down, baby, let's get wet. I just want. And it's the first time I'd heard something like that. It was, let's get wet. Then boom, they both just booted off at the same, the proper speed. I was like, oh my God, that sounds unreal. How has he done that?
Yeah.
And so I was like, right, I definitely want to get in amongst this DJing and that. And so eventually I actually got a copy of High Horse and Mulhouse, and I was able to recreate the mix, which was like made a massive penny drop and took DJing to another level. I have to give props to MC Check, Tony Fowler, one of my good pals who I knocked about with. He was one of the very few people I knocked about with that could mix. He was maybe the only person I knew at one point. And so when I bought a set of decks, I still couldn't mix. He used to come round mine and like mix properly. I would just stand there watching him.
Analysing how you do it and
yeah, similar to what like Andy was saying and that. I just used to like watch people. And then the very first mix that where the penny dropped was with Mulhouse Rave in the Jungle.
Right.
After the vocals, when the beat kicks in, it's got the da stab.
Yeah.
It was that I got that sitting right, because I knew like where it wanted to sound.
Yeah.
Like da 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 off like, and I just knew it was meant where it was meant to sit. And so after like, I don't know how long of like battling, one day I just played that tune, got it. It was just sitting right. I was like, yes, the penny dropped.
Yeah, just
and then I was hours away from them, like, and then the Chrissy G mixing started. Now every mix I do, well, not every mix in a mix, but like the majority of tunes when I mix them into each other, I like to do stuff like what Chrissy G done and make us like stand out from everyone else, because beat matching doesn't impress anyone these days. There's a million DJs nowadays. Everyone can beat match, and so you need to be like need some way of like standing
You'd be
out
spicy.
and just just get a bit more excitement and that from it, get a bit more creative. So I like to like start mixing at breakdowns and have stuff kicking off at the same time of each other and just like be a bit more experimental with it.
Right. What I was gonna say was when I first when the penny dropped for me, I think there wasn't much room in my house. Basically, there's four of us, like my brothers and sister, and then there's my mum and my stepdad. So when I was living at home and I got my first decks, I used to have them on top of the wardrobe, right, and then I'd have to set them up every time.
Aye.
So I'd get my turntable, I'll plug cables in.
I had them on my bed at one point and that, like,
exactly.
which is fucking no good whatsoever.
I
like,
know.
but
Yeah, well, you don't know that at the time.
I just wanted a noodle on the bit of wax to like hear sounds from it, like.
So, basically, what we'd do is like I remember she was like, right, it's Sunday afternoon. You can have them out while everyone's out, basically. So I set them up on my bedroom floor, started playing away, and they were in sync with each other. I just set the record off and I thought, I fucking got it,
Yeah.
right? And then I did the
Proper
same mix
buzz off it.
over and over again because I was like,
Same, like,
accident?
it took me a while before I played out other than Baby Let's Get Wet and like.
And honestly, like this is for me, right? This is where when the penny dropped, I didn't want to put my decks away that night. Do you want to know why? I thought I'm gonna wake up tomorrow morning and I'll forgot how to do it. Do you not like it sounds mental like it's like I had the decks out, right, and I remember it was a Sunday because like my little sister and brother were going in the bath and that, and I still had the decks out and she's like, you've still got them decks. I was mixing in my headphones at this point because I had to turn the music off.
I envy you. I wish I could mix it with headphones, just something I can't do.
But I would just once it clicked, I was addicted to just getting it right.
Oh, and it's a proper buzz when they just sit perfect with each other.
And
like,
it got to about 9 o'clock, fucking heartbeat had been on and all. Do you know, like the fucking Sunday routine and that? The kids were going to bed and doing it again and again. And I remember just saying to Mum, like, yes, like I've done it, like I've made it now. This is I'm just at a time and a place. And after that, I was getting them out every day without like behind my mum's back.
Never bored again ever.
Like and then but that was the thing. I went to bed that night and I was lying there in bed and I was still an adrenaline high. It was like I just played to fucking 10,000 people. Yeah. I'm not even joking. I was lying there in bed and I'm like, I hope I can do this in the morning. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
still stuff going through your head and that.
Yeah, like I hope that this isn't just a fluke.
Yeah.
And then as you say, you get on, you start playing your tunes and like I play this tune after this tune and then it all just fucking it just works. It's like literally riding a bike. Like once you learn, you think, how did I not do it before? Like it just once you've got it, it clicks. It's just it's an addiction. That's the only way I can do it. It's an addiction.
Oh, once I'd first mastered a beat matching, well not mastered it, but once I first got into beat matching and started going to the vibes and stuff, I didn't like miss another local rave. I went to everything that I possibly could. I actually was an MC before a DJ. I used to go by the name of MC Ballistic, which I actually pinched off someone from the North East.
You're not MC Ballistic, mate, are you? Are you joking? Mate, I've got recordings with you on.
Give our...
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind them.
I'll get you them.
I wouldn't mind listening to them.
MC Ballistic.
I've not heard any recordings of myself from back in the day. Like, I'll have to get myself prepped and in a good state of mind to listen to it. Like, but no, I've been intrigued to it. I hated my voice so much.
Must have been 2005, maybe. If I remember.
Sounds about right. Like, aye, definitely sounds about right.
There we go.
With the ISTIC. I'm actually embarrassed to say one of my cousins' pal from of a Newcastle who was called MC Ballistic, a lad called Mickey Cannell, I think. It was really fucking good, but like he didn't go on events and stuff, and so I pinched his name because I weren't going to see on enough flyer and that. I wouldn't do it now that I've like grown up. I'm a tad more like sensible and stuff, but like back in the day I was like just stupid, like less models and stuff, I guess. But I actually ripped my own rhymes and stuff, but I actually pinched the name from someone else. There was I think it was an over 18s event that I was on about for some reason in level 2, and Fowler, MC Check was on the mic at the time, and he must have been on it for a while. He was wanting a break, knackered and whatever. And so I was just standing on stage with him, and he was just like, give us a mic. He was like, hey, do you want to go? And I hadn't writ anything it out by this point. But I was like, aye, I'll have a go. So God knows what I was saying it out. Like, didn't have no rhymes or anything, but I had to go at MCing, and the two DJs in the DJ box, Tomo and do you know Batman? The DJ Batman, Robin from Carlisle.
Yeah, from Carlisle.
Yeah, he's good.
I don't know him, but I've been on lineups and that with him, and I couldn't like if I what bumped into him, I wouldn't know it was him.
Right.
I know you're on about. I've heard him mixing that.
Oh, he's good lad. Like, well, I had them two in the DJ box, and well, Tomo was like, he's a pal of mine, but Tomo I just knew through Chris Fletcher, MC Dynamite, and doing the Vibe events. They're both like laughing their heads off because like they knew me, but like knew I wasn't MC and whatever. But I seemed to be rocking it. Like the dance floor didn't clear. Well, I think it was from that point that was like, I wouldn't mind giving this MCing a go. So I pinched myself a name and started writing rhymes. And there was me and a lad called Lee McVeigh, MC Mac, who was my partner in crime.
Right.
And we used to go to all the events with each other.
The recording I've got is both of yous. Right, mate? I'm going to tell you what it is, and it might come back to you.
Priceless.
Right? It's either... I don't think it was Fusion, you know. Did you MC in the park?
Yeah. Went all over. Whenever there was a local rave, we were there.
Right.
Like
MC Mark, MC Ballistic in the park. Right, I'll get you the CD before you go. Right.
What a belter.
No, right, and DJs were Stu can't remember. He used to, from Silif, right, and there was Chris Rigg.
Yeah. Chris is a good lad, good DJ.
And who was over DJ? There was another DJ on, and honestly, I've got the pack upstairs, mate. I'll get you it before you go. And it's there's different tunes. There's bits of Italian, there's bits of Scouse and that on, and yeah.
Even though we were there, we hated doing it at the time because we just wanted to MC to Spanish and that really.
Yeah.
But obviously not many people playing here, and we wanted to MC and we still would go all of it and like do it to out. But what happened a lot of the time was MC Aki D, who would get asked to do Boogans because he was like big name now, best MC in Cumbria by like a country mile. And I said northwest of England if it wasn't for Finchy. They can maybe get a bit debatable, but best MC for me for the country mile. He used when he couldn't be asked going to like the smaller and shittier gigs. He used to like ring me and like tell us to like go through, and me and Loom would like try and replace him.
He's coming on here. He's confirmed.
All right, good. I'd be good crack. Like I want
to pick his head because I'll be honest with you. Growing up, there was always a lot of Aki D stuff from Fusion, and do you know what I mean, like stuff like that. And there was a lot of his stuff that got passed around with CDs and
when I first got into Rave, Aki D and Czech, they were the men, they were the men.
I never, I always rated him because I heard him on the CDs and I was too young to go out to the clubs. When I first seen him in a club, like, it's really, fucking, in fact, I'm getting irritated thinking about it. It irritates me that he never got as big as he should have because the control he had in a club. Some people don't have that today. Some of the big MC, like he used to, like, because he's a big lad, big tall lad. So he was stand there, right, and when he project his voice into the crowd, it's like he just fucking like gather around, that thing. Honestly, it's like he just brought them in, like doing MC what an MC should do. He wasn't just there giving it thing.
He belongs doing it like
he just had a presence. He had like. I know it sounds stupid, like MC Storm type presence where he filled the stage. Like when I first seen him, and it was later on, it wasn't in his prime. I seen him and I just thought, why didn't he get bigger than he did?
It's a bit sad, really. I mean, there's a lot of like great MCs out there, and they can write really good rhymes, but they won't have the voice to go with it.
Yeah.
Whereas like Aki D, he had the voice. And he could write good rhymes as well. He's got so many like good rhymes. He had the chance to go a bit further with it. I mean, he knocked the monkey back. Well, at least once in a know of. He'd done the monkey like a couple of times, but like he was knocking like events back, which I'm shaking my head at because like I'd have loved to have done the monkey.
No,
Like
hey, at the
I
end
wouldn't have
of
went
the-
over there and MC'd as MC Ballistic, like, but I'd have loved to have like been an artist there, like dream.
He's, as I say, he'll tell his story when he's on here. But he's always one of them. Like, I'm not a massive MC guy, if I'm honest. I think that's why I'm not as much as into the northeast scene as I was, like, as I am with Bounce.
They have to have MCs,
Yeah, they have
which
to have
is
MCs
sad.
on. Right, I know because the music's great. It is great. A lot of people call it fairground music, but I disagree. I think it's really energetic.
Oh, I
upbeat.
see where they're coming from with the fairground music, like,
Yeah.
but give yourself a check.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it was, sorry to interrupt, I think it was like 2018. There was a couple of lads, I can't remember who the promoters were, but they put in a night all called Makina Arena, and it was Makina, no MCs, and all the DJs were like doing like 3-deck mixes and stuff that you wouldn't normally have. And it was like the best thing you could listen to if you're a fan of Makina and like wasn't really a fan of the MCs. And I think they only had 2 events, and they knocked it on the head because they didn't really do well. There was just like a small following that went there. But really good nights, like really good nights.
Mental how it was so big in Spain, right? And then like over there, like I've seen videos of like the clubs and that over there when they were playing the sort of Spanish stuff.
Yeah.
And they'd bring it in, do all these fancy mixes and that. Like
another level of DJing over there. It's all 3 decks all the time. It's always 3 decks.
They're playing away, and it's there's no MC on, and it's good. It's like people are still dancing and that, like. But like for me, it'd be nice to switch it up a bit sometimes. Like say you had a big night on now. I don't know what's big within the scene of Makina and that. So like say there was a big event on. Have that first hour, no MC on. Just get a vibe going. Play loads of vocal stuff. You don't need to have an MC on all the time. And then bring them on during the night. Like that, for me,
MC should just be like hyping the crowd. Really, they don't have to be rambling on from start to finish of the set.
So MC Ballistic, right?
I went to a rave in Barcelona. I went to a Makina night in Spain.
Get right into this story, man.
There's not really a lot to say from me. After the sort of monkey days, tunes weren't coming out really anymore from from Spain.
Well, they weren't important, or they weren't making them.
They weren't making them like all Well, they do still get made, but not like they were. Certainly no vinyl releases and all like that. And when you're looking for new music, you wouldn't really find a lot. One of my pals, Michael Cox, he found 2 newly made Makina tunes a little bit before going to Spain, and both of them actually got played in Spain, which is really good. Most of the tunes in the night I really heard before, or the weren't big tunes, but whenever a classic come on that I did enjoy it. I was just bouncing about the spot, going absolutely wild. Last behind the bar were giving me and my pal 3 shots of Jaeger because the amount of drinks we were buying and how mental and that we're going. Loads of people saying, I can't believe you've come here from England and that. I was like, hey, we'll listen to more Makina than yous.
It's interesting that, man. Like for me, obviously I went over to Spain and the Spanish raves for Bounce and that. It's a big culture, but In bounce, obviously, you'll know as well, being a DJ, the subgenres of bounce. So, for instance, there's you've got your
Porky.
Porky and Spanish trance. They call it canditas. I think it's pronounced.
Right.
So basically, you'll know what it is as soon as I mention.
It's Remember for the new monkey style Makina. They call it Remember.
Canditas, Remember. That's what the genre is. And it's I love that style. I play it in my sets now. Like Miguel Serna, stuff like that.
I'm not massive on it to listen to, but it's good to mix.
Yeah.
Me and Reed, he done a 3-decker Spanish one, and it's maybe the hardest mix that we've done.
Yeah.
It was class to mix, a bit like hard house when you mix it.
Yeah.
Nice long mixes, smooth.
But play it that type of music. I always found a vibe with it. I still play it in my sets now, all the time. In fact, every set, I always throw a little Spanish tune in. I call it Spanish, but it's Spanish trance, whatever it is.
Variation, that's what you want.
And I don't know if you can agree with this. This is a bit of a fucking statement, but do you know when we had...
Don't agree.
No, say your Italian tunes, right? Italian got shit when British started doing it. Makina, so Spanish style Makina got a bit shit when the British started doing it. For instance, I know you might disagree, but for instance, if you listen to an Italian tune, she's singing in English, and it's the accent. I think.
Oh yeah, that definitely adds.
The accent adds something
Oh,
to it,
100%.
which if you get like, I know it sounds stupid, but I heard someone do a re-vocal of TH Express, I'm on your side, right? And it's an English.
That's a dangerous remix, like dangerous.
It's an English person singing it, right? And it hasn't got the European twang to it. Do you know, like, she's got a twang to her voice, hasn't she?
It won't sound right.
It
like
doesn't sound the same.
Aye.
So I think that the quality of them tunes started going down. Like with this Candidas, remember, this style, the tunes were sort of dying down when the British started copying that style, and it sounded
Right.
it sounded too polished.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Because
of course,
I remember hearing a tune. What is it? I can't even remember what it is now, off the top of my head. But it's an old tune by like it's Miguel Serna tune, and it's original. And he's got this vocalist on it, and you can tell she doesn't speak a word of English because the way she pronounces some of the words in the tune.
Aye.
And it's like, for me, it was just raw, and it was fucking. It's really, really good.
Well, that's it. Like, just because it's raw and just because it's a polished thing, that necessarily isn't like a bad thing. It can be a good thing. Like, adds flavour to it. Like, as I said before, it gives it character.
See, I'm a bit jealous that you went to Barcelona to listen to that, because for me, right, I went to, first time I went to play in Spain, I played at this club. It was called Club Anaconda, right, and it was for that. It was more hardy. You say you pokey and stuff like that. You pokey, you bumping your hard bass, and I tried to throw in DJ Litos, Heat of the Night. It is, in the heat of the night, I feel a wonder.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's that, right? It's got that the triplet bass line, like an Italian tune.
Yeah. But that's hard to make, that bass line.
You can sample stuff.
Yeah,
But yeah, you know, like anyway, so I tried to play that tune, right? And because thinking Spanish people will like Spanish, right? Complete.
No.
Nah. So right, as soon as it come in, the bass line, mixed it in, the vibe went down. I played 30 seconds of that tune.
Now it was
Right,
when that happens.
and I just
like,
thought, while I'm in Spain, I'll live the dream and play Spanish. Like, do you know what I mean?
Oh well, yeah. Aye.
And then I had to go back into the hard stuff. But like for me, like I'd love to have went to like a Remember night, like even if it was Makina, like you went to, you had a classic in Spain.
I see good lineups all the time and festivals that they have, and like at some point I'm gonna go over to something proper because they play a lot of harder stuff like Gabba and stuff like that. And now with a Makina night these days in Spain, they'll only maybe have an hour of Makina what I would listen to, and it's just like all like Gabba and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so when they have like bigger events, they'll have Gabba played at the main festival, like a stage, but then your little like side tents and rooms that you have in clubs, you'll have like Remember Makina on there.
Yeah.
There'll be half a dozen DJs playing it, and
We'll go together.
they'll,
Tell you now.
or any time, like I'd be well game for it. I'd love to. I'd want to go to something like that when I'm gonna hear like more music that like I'd want to hear. It was a spur of the moment thing. Me go to there. Me and a pal were in Spain at my pal's mum and dad have got they've got a static caravan over there, but the word caravan doesn't do it justice because it's like a house. It's like just as nice as like my house, like or whatever. We went over there for a couple of weeks and we were just chilling and that. And we'd maybe been there for like a week and like we want to do something to do at the weekends and one of us just scrolling through Facebook as you do and we seen it a night advertised and.
This must be just luck then, is it?
Oh,
like,
it was just completely random.
Right.
I can't remember which one of us found it. And we were like, how far is this away? I'll look on Google. Fancy this and that. And next thing, we'll just go. We jumped on a train and went there. I nearly fucked us up going there because... in fact, no, I nearly fucked us up coming back as well. On the way there... we got to a train station, like a connecting train, and we were on the wrong side of the platform. And my pal Coxie, he was like, oh, Ian, we need to be on the other side. And me wrecked and that, as is tradition. Oh, no, we're all right and that, this is the right train. He was like, no, Doof, like, you're wrong. Like, we need to be on the other side. No, it's right and that. And he was like, right, all right, we'll go on here. Like, just so you can say how much of a spacker you are. And I was like, the daft bastard, and I know we're right here. And I wasn't, because I very rarely am. So obviously we've gone on the train. And he was like, right, I'm going to sit down, Doof. Let us know, like, when you've realised we're on the wrong... So we got to the next... I'm looking at the map. Get to the next stop, and I'm like, this isn't the right direction. Fuck, is this right? And that. Get to another stop and that. I'm like, Coxie, I think we might be on wrong side here. And fucking finally... And so I done that, like, gone there. Then on the way back, we left the club. We actually bumped into a lad that, like, gave us some dope, which was sound, because obviously being on holiday, like, I didn't have any dope and that. I appreciated the joint after being raving, like, all night and I'd been fucked in the morning. Bumped into, like, give us a bit of dope. Then looking for the train station, it was like your typical, oh, it's down or you're left, and Cox is saying, oh, it's right. And I'm, no, it's this way and that. But because,
I was right before you, though.
Because of the mistake I'd done the day before going there, I was like, oh, wait, I'm just not going to argue here. I'll shut up. And, like, obviously I was wrong. Like, my pal was right and that. But, like, if they'd listened to me, like, we might have not have got to the club, like. But, yeah, it was just spare the moment. And
love it.
It's
what year is this, by the way?
It's a bit of a common thing of, like, last minute events and that can, like, be the best ones when you've, like, got no plans on it out. And, like,
I've always said that, like,
that was one of the best nights, like, definitely. This was 2016, I think. No, maybe a little bit before then. 2014, 15, like, something like that.
Yeah.
But, like,
right, honestly, like you said, spur at the moment and, like, things in that. Like, my best nights out of my life have been spur at the moment, you know. Like, I think anyone can agree with it. If you prep yourself, sometimes it's you overdo it, eh? Like,
you can
I've like, this is going to be the best night of my life. Got my ticket 3 months in advance.
You get there and, like, it's good and that, good music and that, but, like, you've built it up too much in your head and, like, you can have, like, the opposite effect and that.
So I remember one night when we were about fucking, I don't know, maybe 17, right? And we were used to working the takeaway, me and my missus and my 2 mates. None of them like fucking bounce or anything like that, by the way. They're like the pop music, the pop punk, stuff like that. So we're there and we're, as you do when you're 16, 17, like, oh, do you want to go out after work and that? Don't know whether it can be asked. So we finished our shift at the takeaway at 10 o'clock, cleaned up and that, right? Fucking quick shower because you stink of takeaway.
Yeah.
Got one of our mates' mum to give us a lift for her to work it in. We'll just go on to the circuit, do you know what I mean? Like, just pubs and that at the time. And something just clicked in my head and I'm like, yeah, Royal Oak's got Top Gun on tonight. Should we go? She was like, what's Top Gun? And then they were, honestly, I was like, trust us, it'll be unreal.
You're in luck. Your lucky night.
And so we went in. And I remember going in, 16, 17. Bear in mind, I've been in the rave scene quite, like, a long time, considering I'm only 26 there. So I went in and Farrell was there, John G was on, like, as I said, the Top Gun lads, and then there was a few locals and that. I can't remember the full lineup. I think Candy was there. That's when I met Candy for the first time.
It'll have been decent.
And it was a good night. Went in and, as you say, all you work in regulars there. Royal Oak was like a proper little rave pit.
It used to be class. When I first started going out round town, I only went to 3 spots. It was Royal Oak, and then Elliot's, then Fusion. Like, you didn't really need to bother with town. Every now and then, I'd maybe, like, get knocked back from... when I wasn't old enough to get in the pubs, I'd maybe get knocked back from getting into Fusion. And I would go into Passions by the Washington Central Hotel. It was, like, a bit of a nightclub and that. Working had a really good circuit, like, once upon a time. Like, if you were, like, going uptown for, like, I don't know, a christening do or something daft like that. Like, they used to have a really good circuit, and there was a lot of pubs on open, like, a bit bigger than your like a normal standard pub, and they would have, like, one-off events on all the time, like a spot called, do you know a jailhouse?
Yeah, I remember jailhouse.
Like, jailhouse had the most randomest, like, crazy. It's like just one event things on. They had stuff on all the time, and I don't even know how I used to like heard about like sets like back in the day of first getting into it, because there wasn't like phones or like Facebook groups are out like that.
Flyers and like, takeaways mainly in it.
Even like the smaller events, they didn't have flyers.
Yeah.
Like there maybe you maybe get some posters and that, but it was like the bigger events like Vibe and like stuff that Dobby used to put on Marco. They would like all the flyers and all the takeaways and stuff. But the smaller ones, they wouldn't even do that. And it was mad how the word you used to just get about, and you'd get like good numbers and that in there. But like for a normal like night out for me, it was just Royal Oak, loads of Italian that in there, Elliot's same, and then like Fusion and like perfect like.
What was I going to say? Yeah. So we went into the Royal Oak. Royal Oak it was a weird place, man. Like. It was a rave den.
I don't like DJing there. There's something with the acoustics that I'm just not a fan of. And unless someone had a set up with like good monitor speakers, especially it's set up, then I hated the place. For DJing, it's a raver, like good little pub like.
I remember going in there, and like my three mates I went with, my missus and two mates, they were like, I don't know if this is for us, but obviously when you've had a few drinks, that's like, right, get in there, we'll get on the dance floor and that.
Get among me.
And I can't remember, I think it was Farrell spotted me. It was like, shout Brad Milburn on the dance floor and all this. And I was like, oh, yes, get in there. Give me first shout out and that, I'll have a CD.
Farrell's a good lad.
But my missus said, she was obviously had a few drinks and that. She was like, why don't I get a shout out? And I was like, oh my God. Right. And then, right, you might know this is a bit of an ongoing joke, right? It went on for a couple of years, so this is the origin of the story. Basically, what happened was, as you might not know, well, obviously you know, but like people listening might not know, my missus is from Hong Kong, so she's Chinese or Cantonese, and me and her have casual racism with each other. Like I've got no she'll like.
Oh, I'm of course,
you know what I mean. There's nothing in jest or out like that. It's like it's all in jest, but there's nothing serious. I wouldn't say anything.
Oh well,
horrible.
obviously no. You're married to the woman.
I'm not racist. But I just need to clear this before I say you there. So she was like, I says, "Hold on, pal. I'll go and see Farrell and sort of thing." Went up to the DJ about having a crack with him in that, and I said, "My missus wants to shout out. Can you do big shout to Brad Milburn and the Chink?" Right. So and he's like, "Can you write that down just to make sure?" I think got on my phone, typed it out. Big shout out, Brad Chink. Next minute, fucking Farrell on the dance floor. Big shout to Brad Milburn and the Chink, right? Oh my God. Right, and you could tell he was uncomfortable doing it, right? Yeah. But every rave I took it to after that, it was let's try and get it on the CD pack. Like let's get the.
Oh right. Yeah.
And the amount of people who said I can't say that we're recording, I can't say that other thing. And anyways, I was talking to. This is why I think you might know about this. I was having a crack with Adam McGurk.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, we're recording a new DD thing." I says, "Here, we do the thing. We do as a big shout out for Brad Milburn and the Chink because, like, just for like a bit of an inside
right,
joke.
Yeah.
Everyone have a CD pack, and he done it. And I think you must have been the DJ on the CD. I'm sure of it.
It's probably done at my house if I'm on it. Like,
yeah.
I done a couple of sets with the Dirty Donkers lads, and I think that anyone that I was on, they were all like recorded at my house.
So
good lads, by the way. Shout at all Dirty lads.
I will. I've actually got a couple of them coming on as well, like further down the line. Obviously,
they'll have good stories. Be good.
But it was on the record. It was big shout. Brad Milburn and the Chink, right?
Bloody hell.
Right, so I cut it out there, right, and I every time that she pisses off, I just fucking play it. I just on repeat, and then now I'm banned from going up to like say I'm on a set, right? I was on a set with who was I with? Could have been I don't know, Easy maybe. Do you know MC Easy? Really good MC.
I know you mean, but not really like.
No, I was on with Easy. And it was and I said, you're gonna have to do the shout out for as well. I'm gonna fucking knock the faders down, right? And then you can do the shout out. And he's got and he was like, nah, mate, no.
Too
Yeah, no,
far
I
for
can't
him.
do it now,
Nah,
So now it's
what a
sort of
girl.
faded out, unfortunately. So I've dropped it into the podcast. Big shout, glad no burn his chink. So how many times can I say that without getting away with it?
We're getting shout outs on CDs. After the first Monta I went, there's a lass I went with Jade. Well, after the first event, like she got the nickname Battle Axe just because of how keen she's on life,
Yeah.
and she's just game as fuck for anything.
Just for a good laugh, fine.
Oh, one of the funniest lasses you've ever met in your
Character.
life. Like, her personality's priceless.
Yeah.
Like, she's some baby. Well, she used to like go to the Monta. They've got a tagline. We are Monta. It's wham.
Yeah.
It's one of like the catchphrases sort of thing. And from like the first event, first rave, every rave we went, she'd be like going to the MCs all the time and like literally taking the mic off them. It was TNT's debut at one of the Monta events in Liquid, I think the club was called. He hadn't MC'd from like the New Monkey days, and been on the mic for like 10 minutes, and like Jade went over, took the mic off him. We are Monta, like screaming down. I've seen loads of time online on Ultimate Buzz Rave forum and Facebook. People have been like, "Who's this We Are Monta bird that keeps like coming on the events and that?" Like,
It's Battle Axe!
oh, what Battle Axe? Like she's some baby. Like, shout out to Battle Axe.
Class, mate. I'm not gonna lie to you, we've lost fucking track of where we were with your story. I'm not being rude or like that, like, but fucking, we'll just carry on with the stories if that's alright.
Oh no, that's
Just
Sam.
fucking-
Yeah.
Go on then, let's tell us about locally, man. Like, because obviously I'm just kind of, I don't know your history. I say this to everyone, but am I right in thinking you were like an assistant manager or something like that in Fusion?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Right, so I'm sure you've got stories about that. Come
Best job I've ever had.
Is it?
Oh yeah, by a country mile. What a fucking laugh. Fusion was still up, and now I would maybe I won't go in the office through the week doing all the admin stuff, but I would maybe just manage the club at the weekend, just because it was how much of a laugh it was managing the club at the weekend. After getting into Vibe and the raves and DJing and MC stuff in the early days,
You become a face, eh?
after so many weekends of party and that,
Yeah.
and I was like, right, I need to calm down a bit here. And so I was working up at a call centre in Lily Hall, and I was thinking I could get a part-time job working in Fusion at the weekends, and I'm still there, like around all the good tunes and like the environment I want to be in. But like, I'm not destroying myself, and so I just got a part-time job as a glass collector. Nice. And just worked my way up. Started at the bottom and ended up as an assistant manager.
Started at the bottom, now we're here.
And best job I've ever had. Through the week when I finished work, I'd go home, get changed, have my tea and whatever, get a bag of records, and I would like go back to the club, put the decks on. I would just like maybe with mates, or like I'd maybe even just go there myself and just like have a mix all the time. Like I absolutely loved that. But it was class when they had all the events on and stuff, because I'd still be there at the rave and like whatever.
Experiencing it.
But yeah, I getting in all of the raves for now and like seeing everything, and you're in a bit of a position to talk to artists when they're like in the green room, or like our staff room, or like whatever. But right, a couple of stories of when I walk. Oh, one thing I'm gonna have to say is shout out to Marco, who you had on as your first guest. He doesn't get the recognition that he deserves.
I've already said this to him, mate.
He always. I'm under the impression that he gets seen more as like a promoter than like a DJ, and he gets his props from being a promoter. But he's an absolute sterling DJ. In fact, I've got two cracks about him. One of the nights, bank holidays in Fusion were just berserk. There was one particular bank holiday where my boss, who was off, and so I had to like run the club myself. And so I was like, I don't know, I'd go downstairs, get Andy, go into the cellar, get some drinks, go back into the office, like have a few drinks and that. Do no work. Right, so club's absolutely packed out. It's about like midnight, about halfway through the night, and Mark, he would play like a couple of hard house tunes, and like it'd be a bit more like adventurous than like other DJs that may be on in there. And I must have my CD wallet with us from like going in for the mix before work or whatever. And I used to ask any of the lads to like play tunes every now and then. And Mark was always like a big game for a laugh and that. And so I'm going through my wallet, and the harder side of hard house energy. There was a song that I like called Grady G, Crazy.
Right.
And I was like, I wonder if Mark could play that. It's absolutely absurd tune to play for Fusion because it's just so banging. And no one will have liked it. There'll have been about like 5 people in the club that would like appreciate it. Like, not what you would play at like middle of a bank holiday Sunday. So I got the DJ box and play this tune, that Mark. It's like, I'll stick it on and that. And like, not only did he fire it in and it sounded amazing, but then I wasn't sure if it was a song or an acapella that he played. But next thing, there's an Eminem acapella going over it. And luckily, I think they were both in key because he just sat with it perfectly. And I'm just like looking around, and there's over 1,000 people all bouncing to Grady J Crazy with an Eminem acapella over. I was like, fucking, I wasn't expecting. It was fucking
big
bouncing. Like,
that,
I was like, yes, come on, Marco, boyo. One of the best things I've seen though, he put an event on with Alex Kidd. I'm not sure who else was on, but there was Alex Kidd. Then there was a Laura May trance DJ afterwards. And as Alex Kidd had finished his set, when he pulled his headphone jack out the mixer, he'd fucked the unit, and the thing in the mixer, that held your jack Lloyd in place, that had like fell out the mixer, and you couldn't put headphones in there. And so the DJ that was meant to be on like couldn't put headphones in to mix and that. And so Marco ended up doing the set. He played trance and with no headphones.
Oh, and he was just like bringing it in a bit,
press play.
On the mix.
I put there because you can see on the CDJs the BPM like counter. He'd put it that right, and then he'd like put the volume up a little bit, really give it a little bit of adjustment, and just winged it that way. And I know trances can be a bit tricky to mix and that, and especially when you can't fucking hear now, you've got no headphones and that, and it done the full set like sound as if like he did have headphones. It was fucking amazing watching it because I could appreciate how tricky it can be to mix and things like that. So ever since then I called him Mark Van Dyke and like legend, like shout out to Marco, like
class. I love that.
That bank holiday there was another bank holiday, there was a manager up from down south. He come up to train me. The boss would like do all of the grafting now when I was like first being trained as manager. A bloke called Jimmy, and my boss thought he was like more like him, like to laugh, but good sense of humour, but like serious with business. But he was more like me. He liked a laugh and that, but he was a fucking idiot. It wasn't as bad as me because I was dead young at the time. He was like maybe 10 years old and that, but he was just as daft as me. It was another bank holiday when the club had shut. After the club had shut, all the staff and the door staff, we used to like have a drink, and now we'd have like 1 or 2 drinks after the end of our shift.
A wind down, isn't it? I know loads of people who do that.
I think I'd pulled a lass, and she was stopping there. I was going out with her or something. She was stopping there with a few pals, and it was all the staff. And then eventually, normally we'd have like 1 or 2 drinks, but like when me and Jimmy were there, or if I had the club myself, it was like bars open, have as many drinks as you want, let's get fucked.
Yeah.
And gradually the staff would leave, and the door staff, and then eventually it was just like the lass I was with, her mates, and like the other manager was trained as Jimmy, and we were going to the bar like trying to make cocktails and things. He was trying to show us something called a flaming Lamborghini, where if it's made properly, you light something, and when you pour something, the flame's meant to like shoot up the bottle, or it's meant to do something mental. So he'd start pouring these drinks, lighting it on fire. Won't work. They'd be like, right, drink them DOOF. I'll try it again. And it's like 4 attempts later, I've been down and these like straight glasses of spirits, and now I'm starting to get absolutely fucking wanker. And we're nowhere like close to like making a flaming Lamborghini. Sorry, pal. All right, ready? I've left my phone not on silent, and I'm in the middle of a podcast.
And now you're on the fucking podcast, ready?
Now you're on the phone. Oh, now you're on the podcast, you dickhead. It's not your turn, you pal. Right, yeah, I'll call you later, mate. I wouldn't answer that if it wasn't February. We were out making cocktails, getting wankered. I had the decks back on and that. He ended up taking one of the lasses up to his room above the chill out where the offices and bedrooms and that were. I shagged the lass I was with on the sofa that was in like the back room, the chill out room at Fusion. And this is what I mean about best job I've ever had. Like, you can't really do like shit that at work, shit like that, and, like going for a mix and like have a drink and doss on gamblers and that. Like, I couldn't be more happier with my time there. Like,
great, that's fantastic, man. Like, class, just class.
And some of the DJs that I've seen there, the amount of special guests that they'd get and not like, and the ability like to talk to them when they're in like cornered off like balcony or like staff room and things like that. With me being massive into music.
You get to get behind the curtain, don't you? So you get to see and meet them and like stuff like that.
One of the best cracks he had was with Kirk from QFX.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I really feel sorry for him. He had all of his like special equipment set up on the side of the stage. Then towards like the end of the night, he'd done his bit and I'd done his set, but there was fighting or summit, and the doorman who was meant to be stood next to his gear had left or something had happened, and then drink ended up all over like Kirk's equipment. And man, I know how much like the hardware costs and that.
It's
and
expensive.
I felt so sorry for him. But it was class when he played a monkey tune, QFX Whiplash, bass, bounce. I was on the main bar at the time, and then MC Aki D, he was in the club, and when the tune got played, my ears just picked up instantly and like started looking up at the DJ box. So he come off, it was like Doof tune, and I was like, yes. And that was why I worked at Fusion for just like
moments
that exact.
Like that,
I
know. So you can have a 9 to 5 office job, right? And this is I say this all the time. You have a 9 to 5 office job, and people say they've got a boring job, but there'll be 20-minute gaps throughout your day where you and a fucking work pal are having the best time ever. In a nightclub, them 20-minute gaps happen 4 or 5 times a night, where it's like I fucking this is a reason why I come to work every day. Like, it's fucking class.
Yeah, at the weekend, even though I was losing my weekends, which like kind of bothered us sometimes, but not really.
Yeah.
I wasn't like asked about being at work or losing my weekends. I was really happy being there and like doing my job. It was just like the perfect environment what I wanted to be in. And I'm obviously surrounded by all my pals who were all out on the piss and that, so I'm hearing good cracks from them. Maybe like treat them to a drink or like whatever. Like,
so what was the crack with like when you were DJing and that? Like, what happened? Like. You were in Fusion. No. I was going to ask someone else, to be honest with you. When you were in Fusion, like, did you ever have the itch to get on? Like, because obviously being a DJ,
I've done a couple of sets in there. What used to happen was sometimes DJs couldn't get there till later on.
And they need a stand-in sort of thing.
Yeah, I had maybe like do a couple of hours like playing, I don't know,
all sorts.
It'd be pop music on a Thursday, or I'd like play like Scouse or like some dance or something on a Saturday night. I did do the odd bit and that there, but I was happy with me job, because when I was doing that, I thought, this is going to be my career, like club management sort of thing. So I wasn't too asked about leaving that and trying to go into a DJ role full time. I was happy with like the club management job. I really liked the job.
It's once you're in nightlife, that's it. Like you're in, aren't you? Like it sounds stupid, but like. You're not working anymore. You don't see it as work. You go in there and you with your mates. It's leisure time, but you paid for it. If that makes sense. Yeah. With me, because I don't drink out like that. Like, for me, it's an ideal job. You go and you can manage the bar. You can do whatever. You're getting to fucking see all the acts,
you're doing stuff that you'd be doing in your spare time.
You'd be there
listening
anyways.
to good music.
I know you might be a bit
stuff.
but Yeah, you know what I mean?
The only time I was unhappy was when the club shut, everyone left, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was like stuck in the in the basement room doing the cashing up at like 4, 5 in the morning, like by myself. But the only time I was unhappy, but
That's
any
just
other
the work
time,
part of it, though.
well, yeah,
like
I just
you do in essentially you how long would you go for, like a 6 hour shift, something like that? Would you say 6, 8 maybe?
I think the club typically opened up about 10, so I'd maybe go there for 9, spend an hour setting up or whatever.
So 6, 7 hour shift. You're only working what, 2 hours maybe? Because the rest of it you're in amongst it and you're in the vibe. Like, do you know what I mean?
Well, my work didn't really start unless there was problems, unless something went wrong with customers or till system or whatever. My job didn't really start till everyone had left the club, and I would have to like do all of the bank and whatever. I'd spend all night just like walking around, talking to people, making sure the bars are all right, staff are happy, and smoking.
Obviously we've been going on well longer than an hour now, I think it is. I just want to close this one. And also, I want to get you back. Like I've said to other guests who's been on, you will be coming back if you want to.
Oh, of course, mate. It's been a pleasure. We've hardly spoke about outlet, to be fair.
Yeah. But to sign off, I'm just going to do what I do with everyone else. Can you tell me, throughout all your years of being a DJ, the club manager, growing up with music and that around you, with your dad fucking playing in a band and that, what's 3 tunes that stick out to you? If you had to, if you like,
not just Makina, all genres.
Everything, like something when you think of it, and it's like that. It holds a place as a nostalgic piece of memories. Doesn't necessarily need to
right. Well, not. I thought you wanted like favourite tunes, but so I'd be like a high horse for Makina, but tunes that like stand out that have like meant something over the years.
Aye.
Aha, Take On Me. Because it's one of my favourite songs now. And we got brought up on it. And there's a few versions of that, and the version that everyone knows, that become how it is now. The lad who made it's from Northside in Workington.
Are you joking?
Not many people do, and just as you're going in on the left-hand side, I believe, Alan Tarney, he might be called, but he made a Heartache On Me, like the good version, like what everyone is on the radio. That's got a close place to my heart. Out the Hard House days, I'd have to say Paul Glasby, Kick It. Because that was the last tune every tidy weekend. And
a lot of people say that, you know. A lot of people always say that tune for that reason.
There is I think there's better hard house tunes, but just
it's
like
the
that
memory. It's the memory. That's what it is, mate. That's exactly what it is.
The connection that's there.
Yeah.
And apart from that, third tune, Maniac 2000.
Maniac 2000,
it's like one of the first tunes that got us into rave and dance and like stuff like that. Still good now.
Maniac 2000, that holds a special place in my heart as well, because at our wedding, well, basically on my stag do, my mate came and he was playing tunes and that on his phone on the stag do. We were in Magaluf, and he couldn't get dated on his phone, obviously being abroad. And the only song he had on his phone was Maniac 2000. So that was the theme of the holiday.
I bet it was.
So every single time it was coming on and everything, and we were playing it. So it became a thing of, on the wedding night, with our first dance, right, and everything, second tune in was Maniac 2000. So we're on the dance floor.
That's
really
wicked,
the stag do. It was quality.
Belter, mate.
Yeah, quality. So that's I'd probably put that in my top 3, you know, if I had to, like, because it just holds.
That's it. It's not something I would like play now without, but like it's just like it was class when I first heard it. Just still as good now, and just that much of a moon.
Just want to give a big shout out to Jamie Gill for bringing his phone with us. We didn't playing that tune continuously throughout the throughout the holiday. We were there, and by the end of it, everyone was just singing it. Like it's just class out. Like just good memories.
Decent.
But I'm gonna sign off by doing like Chinese food.
Yeah.
So you go for
you
go for a meal for one, right? Go on the Chinese takeaway. Meal for one. What you getting?
I'm a man of simple taste, to be honest. For Chinese, it'd either be king prawn omelette or maybe a special chow mein, mixed chow mein.
Nice. Fucking, yeah. When you say a man of simple taste, I thought you were going to go say chicken balls and chips. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's
close.
nice, but it's not, you know what I mean? No, but yeah, King Prawn omelette, I'll have some of that, like. Definitely. Just want to say thanks for coming on.
My pleasure.
Do you want to plug anything? I know you're not really pushing the DJ side of things now, but where can people listen to your music, your productions and your mixes?
Most of my material mixes are on youtube.com/c/DOOF UK. And me and Ellie Sue's my partner in crime for doing productions. We've got a SoundCloud. I can't remember the actual link, but if you Google search, Doof and Ellie's SoundCloud, and then all of our productions are on there. Listen to, or majority of.
Right, next time you come on, gonna bring Reedy with you, aren't you? We'll have a three-way conversation.
Reedy's good because he remembers all the things that I don't remember.
Yeah.
Like, and we've done a lot of stuff together, so that'd be good.
Right, so we're signing off. It's been a fucking fantastic episode, mate. I've loved it personally.
Good crack.
Cheers for watching, everyone. Thank you very much.
Au revoir.